Hey guys, Katara here. Today's video is going to be kind of a part 2 to the video where I talked about me dropping out of high school and that whole story, and I just there's a lot of things that I didn't say in that video because it would have been way too long and I just didn't feel like a lot of that should have been in one video, so I decided to go ahead and make this video to kind of put a little more detail into what I was talking about when I dropped out of school. So let's get right into the video. Basically, what made me want to talk a little bit more on the subject is I was going through Tumblr and there was a post, or a few posts that I saw actually, that just really related to me, and I felt that I needed to talk about it more, and I'll probably have them like up on the screen somewhere, but there's this one that says, I shouldn't have to sacrifice my mental health to do well in school. And I relate to that just 100% because that's exactly how I felt when I made that decision to leave school. It's a really stressful environment, and maybe it's just me, but the school system sucks. I hate it, and I'm glad that I'm out of it, if I'm being completely honest. There's another one that says, your kid's mental health is more important than their grades. A thing every parent should know. Now, my mom was never really, she's the one that took me out of school, obviously, because I was 17 at the time, and so she was never really one that was like that, or one that was really stressed about my grades and how they were, but I still think that it applies to like people in my situation because a lot of parents aren't like that. And there's this one, it says, you are allowed to grieve the years you lost to mental illness. You're allowed to be mad that it happened to you. You're allowed to pine after the person you might have been had it been different, but don't let that get in the way of your growing into your new self and following a wholly new path for your life. Now this one, it made me feel a lot better, because I do hate that it happened to me, as well as I'm sure everyone else who's gone through any kind of mental illness or illness in any way. But you know, you hate that it happened to you, and I just know that things would be different if I didn't have depression or anxiety at the time. You know, I would have had better grades. I would have graduated. I would probably be in college right now. Not saying that I don't like where my life is right now, because honestly it's the best and I love it so much. It's just I know things would be different if I didn't suffer from those things. And I'm ready to go down the path of this new life, and I'm excited where it's taking me. It's taken me to amazing places so far, so I only know that only better things are to come. You know, those things did happen to me, but I'm not going to let those things get in the way of what I have coming my way. This one says, at 17 I should have been learning to drive a car, not hoping that one would hit me. Things I'm realizing at 18. And this one really, this one hit home because, you know, like, during that time, like, I had suicidal thoughts. No thoughts anyone should ever have to think ever in their life. But, you know, at 17 I was in my bed, like, all the time. I hated breathing, and everything was just dull and painful, and I wanted it to end. And I know now, looking back, now that I don't feel that way, knowing that it wasn't right, and I should have been thinking of other things that like normal teenagers were doing, like driving a car and getting a job, and that wasn't me. I wasn't capable of doing those things because of the way that I was feeling. And I saved this one for last because this one got me the most, and this one was the one that I liked the most. It says, the whole idea of staying in school is great and all, but it's hard to hear when you're someone who couldn't stay in school. So here's a post for every person who's had to drop out of school, whether it was due to illness or money or just because you didn't want to be there. You're no less of a person for dropping out. You own your own life, and you're just as important as people who were able to graduate. And that one is definitely my favorite out of all the ones that I talked about in this video, because it just, people like me need to hear that, especially, you know, people who have dropped out of school. A lot of times all I heard was, you made the wrong decision. You made a bad choice. You're going to regret this later in life. You could have waited a few more months. You could have pushed through, and people just didn't understand what I was going through, and they didn't know that no, I couldn't just stay in school, because the thoughts I was having were thoughts no 17-year-old should be having at that time in her life. And it just made me feel better knowing that there are people out there that still think that people who dropped out of school are just as great as people who graduated. Like, we're no different than you. There are lots of different reasons that people drop out of school, and mental illness and money, those are just two of the many reasons why people drop out. And to know that I am just the same as you if you graduated, or if you do graduate, we are the same. I'm still a person, you're still a person. That doesn't make me any different because I dropped out of school. And that doesn't mean that I can't be successful in life, because I can be 100%. And you know, there's some people that have dropped out that are even more successful than people who graduated high school. So just keep that in mind, and know that it doesn't matter what the reason is, or where you came from, or where you're going, that you're going to get somewhere, and it's going to be great, even if you did drop out of high school or college or whatever kind of school you dropped out of. But I'm a person, and I don't deserve any less than someone who graduated, and someone who graduated definitely doesn't deserve more than me because I dropped out of school. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. It really makes me feel a lot better being able to talk about things like this with you guys, because I get to get it off my chest, and it just makes me feel better and get my story out there, especially for people who may be going through the same thing that I was going through in school, or maybe if they're thinking about dropping out, or if they already have dropped out. So if you are a high school dropout or are thinking about it, just know that you are no less than anyone who's graduated high school. So just keep that in mind, and know that you're great no matter what, if you've graduated or not. So thanks for watching. I put up new videos every Wednesday, so don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!